Okay, so.
There's a wonderful verse in Proverbs.
Yes.
Shall we start there?
Let's start in Proverbs.
In Proverbs 23:7, it says, "For as you think within yourself, that's what you become." Ooh.
Wow.
For as you think
Wow.
within yourself, that's what you become. That's a pretty powerful
Yeah,
quote right there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, back in 2004, Lee and I came here to Greenville. We had been living in Asheville, and through a series of events, we ended up coming here to be the ministers. So there were 12 people when we first came. And we thought, okay, well, what can we do? And so we just started teaching, started sharing, People started coming in. After about, 6 months, we had about 75 people, and that was really good. And there was a lot of healing that needed to take place within people because there had been some strife and division in the past. How many has never had strife and division in your life? Raise your hand. Never, ever. Oh, okay. So
Is there a hand that went up? Because I want to hang out with him.
That was Jesus there in the back.
Oh, okay.
And Buddha on the other side.
Okay.
No. But one of the people that I met when I first came was a retired Unity minister who had actually retired to Greenville because his daughter and son-in-law lived here. And his name was Reverend Ross Goodman. Ross Goodman. How many remember Ross?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous person. And he told me that he had gone to Unity to become a Unity minister back when it was not called Unity Village. It was called Unity Farm. And it was 2 years after Charles Fillmore had passed away. It was like somewhere in the mid-40s. And he was there. And he went to school with all of these amazing people. And so he got to where he couldn't drive. And so sometimes I'd go pick him up. He lived in Simpsonville. But we wanted him to be here, because he just had a presence about him. And he was so full of love. And one of his favorite shirts that he wore said, "Save the chocolate." Because Earth is the only planet that has chocolate. Or no, save the Earth.
Save the Earth.
Because the Earth
is the only
the only place that has chocolate, So he loved chocolate. People would slip him chocolate every once in a while. But he was a brilliant minister. I'd heard him back in his younger days and he was just brilliant. Mm-hmm. And so he would stand and pray at different times and do different things. And I know some of you that met him, he was just a wonderful person. And so he would tell me these stories about going, out to Unity Village. He's from Canada originally. And so he went to school with different folks. But anyway, he said, when I first started out, he said, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, where to go. And he said, I got a call from Eric. And Eric was in New York. And he said, I would love for you to come and work with me in New York, at the Unity Church there. And he said, well, let me pray about it. Let me think about it. And so he went, he was like best friends with Eric. And so he went to talk to James, who was the vice president of Unity at the time. And you know who I'm talking about, James Dillett Freeman.
Yeah, who's the Eric you're talking about?
We'll get to that in a minute. Don't give it away. Come on now.
All right.
He was just a guy. He was just a good friend. And so anyway, so he goes and he talks with James. And James became a millionaire through his writings. He would write these wonderful poems and stories, and Hallmark would buy all of his stuff, and put it in their cards and use his material. And so James was just full of wisdom and so forth. And so he's sitting talking with James. He said, all right. He said, I'm thinking about going to be with Eric in New York. And he says, okay. He said, what do you think about that? He said, well, I don't know. I said, I'm really considering it. He said, well, here's the thing. He said, you've got great energy. He's got great energy. Both of you together, it would be fantastic. He said, but think about, if you went somewhere else and brought your energy to another place, how great that would be, And so he thought, oh, that kind of makes sense. And so he prayed about it, and he ended up not going to New York. Instead, he went to Seattle, which was the other side of the world. And he was involved with several different churches. I think he was in ministry for like 60 years. And he ended up, the last church that he was involved with was the Unity of Tampa, which was a very successful church. And his friend Eric had started off in Pittsburgh, had started a work there, because this was back, Unity was still kind of, on its getting started. And so Eric started to work in Pittsburgh, and it did really well. And then from there, he went to Detroit, the Unity Temple of Detroit, and ended up with 2,500 people, after a while. Did really well there. And he started writing his books, Eric Butterworth, who we're talking about, if you know who that is.
Figured it out.
Yeah, she gave it away.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry. So, and then from there he went to New York, and that's when he had talked with Ross. And started teaching at Carnegie Hall. The Unity teachings, the Unity principles. Thousands of people were coming to listen to him. And if you've ever heard him talk, he's not like a very demonstrative, he's not like me, hand waving and all that. He just is very just straightforward and direct, and he was funny. But he was very straightforward and direct, and his ministry was just impacted a lot of people. I believe it was Oprah that said that his book, Discover the Power Within You, was the book that changed and transformed her life, So if you haven't read that book, he wrote it back in the 60s, So the verbiage is kind of from the 60s, but it's very powerful, and there's a lot of beautiful quotes that you'll hear us make quotes that come from that book. And so I would, urge you to check that out. But Reverend Ross, he taught me a lot of things, about unity and about, his experiences in the various churches that he was involved with, and working with people and setting up teams, and he was just so instrumental, in my life, and affected this church. Mm-hmm. And so we have had people throughout the years who've had an impact, who've had an impact. And I just want to say that right now, that I'm looking at the people who are present day having an impact, right? And so we just want to be sure that this community, this work is thriving and stable and strong and continues this powerful message of transformation, into the future, so that when we're all gone, there's still a thriving, vibrant Unity community that's here. How many would buy into that and say, yes, yeah, that sounds good to me. So we appreciate that. And that's one of the reasons we're having the meeting today, is so that we can, talk this over and just see what we can all do to make sure that we have everything that we need. So if you can be with us afterwards, we would really appreciate it. All right. Did you know that you are energy? You are an energetic being, right? You are made from the substance of spirit. You are made of spirit, spiritual essence. The real you is just kind of floating around with this body. You know? And so, energy is that true essence that enlivens the body. Without your spirit, without that energy there, there's nobody home. Right? And a lot of people don't ever become sensitive and aware of that spirit that's within them, that aliveness. And you wonder why. Well, it's because they're not present in their body. There is a teaching that kind of invaded spirituality that says, don't worry about the body. Worry about where you're going in the afterlife. And that's really what it's about. It's not about the here and the now. It's not about doing good for each other. It's not about what Jesus taught. Right? It's about, the condition of your soul before you die. Well, the thing of it is, without being grounded in the body, Jesus said, call heaven to earth. Call heaven to earth. Call the spiritual into the earth. How many know where we need it? Tell the person next to you, say, you need this. We do, don't we? So it's the process of aligning the body with the spirit. And through the process of presence. See, being spiritual does not equate with being less physical. A lot of people think that. What happens when you're less physical? Your body starts to deteriorate. Say with me, oh, that's right. So it is calling the Spirit, calling forth the energy. We're not here trying to escape our bodies and go somewhere else. But a lot of people are not in their bodies. It's like their energy is scattered. It's here, it's there. It's everywhere. But it's not here. It's not really here. And so, less body focus leads to what? Feelings of spaciness and unconsciousness. If you want to be here, you have to what? Be here. So, well, what does that mean? Well, your spirit, your energy, because it is the spirituality that augments your physical life. Do you see that? And you see how important that is? Because until we become present with our lives, we're not going to understand our purpose. We're not going to know why we're here. We're going to get into confusion and fear. What's this quote here, sweetie? What do you think?
J.R. Rims said, flying starts from the ground. The more grounded you are, the higher you fly. The more grounded you are, the higher you fly.
Yeah, the plane doesn't start in the air. Mm-mm. The rocket ship doesn't start in space. It starts on the ground. Right? Yeah. How many are ready for liftoff? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a word that's thrown around a lot in spiritual circles, and you might see it on YouTube and the internet. It says, talking about ascension. How many's heard that word? Ascension. Okay, all right. But ascension is not leaving your body. Okay? It is transcending your negativity and your thought, your confusion and your fear. That's what it's really about. That's the ascension that's really to be happening. It's really about elevating your body consciousness and becoming more grounded. All right, put your feet, if you don't, just go with me for a second. Put your feet on the floor. What's the matter, Shorty? Being grounded, being connected to the ground will create a stronger sense of personal presence. Have you ever met somebody who just, they're there when you talk to them? They're with you. You understand what I mean by that? They're connected when you talk. They're not just kind of floating around somewhere. And this sense of personal presence creates a sense of passion, okay? And strong focus, a stronger focus. Confidence. You want confidence? You need to be grounded. Because what happens when you get in a situation, somebody says, hey, I want you to stand up in front of these people and speak. And you, yeah, and I've had this happen to me. Stand up in front of people to speak, and everything just disappears. It's like, right? You ever have that happen? It's like you have all these wonderful things that you want to share with people, but when you get with them, all of a sudden it's like, I can't. What was that again? And it doesn't come out right. That's because we're not grounded. Say we're not really here. We're not present with the body, with our breath, with our consciousness, with our awareness. Does this make sense to anybody? Yes. What do you think, Liz? Does this make sense?
Yep.
So, what are you doing?
I'm grounding.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm sitting here getting in touch with my body and grounding.
Very good.
What are you doing?
I'm talking to you right now. This creates a state of coherence. 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 What's the opposite of coherence? Confusion.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, when your spirit is allowed to be more present in your body, it's like spirit is like water. Spirit is like water poured into a glass. I want you to imagine yourself, you're just like a glass. Okay? And you're pouring water into the cup. And you're 1/4 inch full. So that means there's room for other things. Do you really want that? That's what you have to think about. If you can stay 90 to 100% full, between 90 and 100% full, you will always be present. Does it make sense? So you want to stay full. Mm-hmm. Your energy will have priority in your body. Because it's that energy that's creative. It's that energy that is life-sustaining. It is that energy that gives you guidance. Make sense? And that's why it's important to stay grounded in your body. You know? One day, I was sitting on the couch just years ago when the kids were little, and I was thinking, boy, I need to exercise more. I just watched this video, and I thought, it's time for me to exercise more. So I remember getting up off the couch. I'm going to take a run. Put on my tennis shoes. I walked out that door and I heard the theme to Rocky in my head.
And I
started running. But I wasn't in my body. I was in my head. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't looking where I was going. This was in Asheville. And there was a big hole in the ground. And I stepped in the hole and fell over. And when I got up, only one leg wanted to work. I remember hopping and hobbling back to the house.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
And I made a vow. I will never do that again. Oh my. So, awareness is important.
Yeah.
Paying attention is important. Right? It really is. Because you want to make sure that you are, if you're with somebody, be with them. If you're in a situation, be in the situation. Right? Commit to the moment. Say it with me. Commit. Commit to the moment. Be present with the moment. If you're going to be there, yeah, but I don't like being here. I don't like this job. I hate this job. I don't want to be here. I hate this job. All right? Then what you're doing is you're cutting off the flow. Not only are you not good for that job, and maybe you could do it, in your sleep. But what you want to do is you want to commit to the present moment. Doesn't mean you have to totally love it. It just means that you want to put your energy into it. Put your energy into it. And if you do that, if it's not for you, something else will open up. Right? I've seen it happen many times. I know there was a gentleman here who decided he was working in this one particular job. And he said, I just don't like doing it. It's going to kill me. And so he started his own business, doing these handcrafted things. And you know what? It supported him. Because he was putting energy and his love into what he was doing. His focus, his attention into what he was doing. Does that make sense? You put your attention on it, and then it becomes real. It becomes something. But if you're not focused on it, what happens? It starts to scatter. Right? Yeah. What did Ernest Holmes say?
So when we're not focused on, and we're not living from that space of consciousness, awareness, when we're not focused on that, our thoughts begin to scatter, our focus begins to scatter, we start becoming receptors for every little thing that comes along. Even if we know that it's not a good message for us, it's not a good belief for us, we start leaning into those things that don't serve us well. So Ernest Holmes said what we need to do is to eliminate the negative and accentuate the positive. Eliminating the negative, if you're living in the negative, can be really difficult, can't it? It requires some conscious work to lean into and accentuate the positive. In doing this, we gradually acquire the habit of affirmative thinking. So see, we've had people that have said, yeah, I tried that, saying affirmations for a week and it didn't work for me. You do it until it becomes a habit. Many of these practices we do until they become a habit. Being conscious, being aware, feeling into your body is a habit. You do it repeatedly over and over and over so that you can live from that.
Yeah.
Because, there's this, I don't remember, there's a great saying in the military world about when chaos happens, you automatically resort to your lowest level. And so when things happen, if we're not staying in that realm of positivity, if we're not living from a place of consciousness and awareness, consciousness about what I'm doing, saying, being, aware about what I'm doing, saying, being, taking in, then when the crisis and the chaos and the things happen, we go back to some default setting, which oftentimes is reactive, which comes from a place of little me, the little ego that wants to get in the dig or wants to, instead of coming from the highest potential.
Right.
So we have to stay in that space so that when things come, when the changes, when the transitions happen in our life, we can respond in the way that is the highest and best for us rather than react from those base, egotistical, little me places. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So what do you do when you don't want anything to change?
When you don't want
you
anything
it to be
to-
the way it is because you're used to it.
Well, you can live from that space and make yourself miserable, can't you?
Oh,
Misery is optional. There was the bumper sticker, misery is optional. You can either fight against it and resist it and make yourself miserable, or, as Paul said, I have learned in whatsoever situation I am in, therefore, therein to be content.
yeah.
Not talking about being content necessarily with what's happening. Maybe what's happening is messy and ugly, but being content. Inner contentment, knowing that there's a divine plan that's unfolding. I can just lean into this change, even though it looks like something I don't like or don't want. I can lean into it, knowing that there is a divine plan unfolding in my life.
Absolutely.
But if I'm living in that disconnected, flighty, spacey, realm, it's hard to do that.
What, did you say something?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Right? We live from that disconnected space. We let life overwhelm us. I've had a full cup this week. Anybody else ever go around feeling like my cup is full? And I told James one day, I said, I'm sorry, I know I'm snapping at you, and it's not personal. My cup is just full.
I took it personally though.
No, you didn't. Right? What happens when our cup gets full? We either default to negative patterns that we've lived most of our life in, or we step into what we know to be true, what we know to do, how we know to be. And when we're talking about full cups, yeah, maybe you need to do some self-care to take care of that, right? Which I needed to just, get rid of some inner energy and stuff. But it's when those times come, where do you default to? The importance of being grounded.
Yeah. It's because you got a little oil. You're a little oily. You ever been a little oily? And a little too much oil in your cup.
Tell me more.
So what you do is you just keep pouring the water
Ah,
of energy, of spirit. Keep pouring it in there. And eventually, see, oil and water what? Don't mix. And the water will eventually push the oiliness out. Okay? And so that you can become full of presence and nothing else can fit. Here's the thing. If you're full of your own thoughts, nothing else will fit. You ever try to talk to somebody who's already got it all figured out? Nothing will fit. You're just wasting your time. It's just like you're lobbing things at them and they're going, they've got the shield that's knocking it back down. They're not open to hearing anything different. And that's the way it is with presence. You keep pouring that life force, that energy, that water in until that oil is just all gone. Grounding is a core practice. It's a very spiritual practice. And it's one of the things that we've got to get right. Okay? It's one of the things that we need to practice on a regular basis. Because we're healed many times in layers. Have you noticed that? It's like an onion, You don't get to the core right away. You have to peel back a little bit, and that's the way it works. You know, as that presence starts working with you, you know, sometimes there's a little pain when you begin, you know, and that's true with just about anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anytime you start a new career, it's hard, isn't it? Anytime you start and you do something different like running, it can be difficult. There can be pain.
Yeah.
So you want to keep pouring in the water until you get more clear, more clear. Clear away the confusion through grounding. Because that constant confusion does what? It blocks the energy. Blocks it. And that it can't get in there. Make sense?
Yeah. So I just want to visit this analogy that we use sometimes because I think it's so powerful. That if you think of when you mop a floor and you have a bucket and you rinse the mop in the mop water in the bucket, if you let that bucket sit and you go back to empty it later and you pour it out, what's at the bottom of the bucket? All the stuff that you mopped up, all the gross stuff, right? So if we think about ourselves or our experiences as being that mop bucket. You know, people bump up against the bucket, and what's the first thing that comes out of the bucket? Nice, somewhat clear water, right? You bump the bucket a little bit harder, the water gets a little bit dirtier because you're going down a little deeper. Mm-hmm. If someone kicks that bucket over, what comes out? All the nastiness and the yucky and the sludge, right? So we go around in life being bumped. And we have things that happen, and oftentimes we go to a place of, I dealt with that. I don't understand why this is happening again. Okay, we're the onion. It comes off in layers. We're the bucket. We're getting down to that toxic stuff at the bottom that we need
The core issue.
to release.
Yeah.
To get out, right? So
Come out!
every time the bucket is bumped, every time you come up on this same situation and your bucket is bumped a little bit harder, there's a little bit more that gets worked out, a little bit more healing that happens, a little bit more clarity that will come.
And more of that intuition.
Oh,
You know? Because you're clear.
yeah.
You can't hear your intuition if you've got Tweedledee and Tweedledum bumping around. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, the Keystone Cops are in there just like,
And so when you live from that place of consciousness and awareness and intention, then you can recognize that when that happens, instead of going, well, why is this happening again? I thought I dealt with that. You can go, oh, yay, my butt's getting bumped again. Okay, maybe you don't do that. All right. But you understand that then you can see, oh, yeah, okay, here's another frickin' growth opportunity, right? That's right.
So you got to create healthy habits. Healthy
Yes.
habits. Healthy habits.
Yes.
Life-affirming habits. You know, how many habits in your life, are you listening? Are you here? How many habits do you have that are life-affirming? All right? Something to think about, isn't it?
Coffee's life affirming, right? Okay, good. All right, okay.
We're
I'm
not going to start.
I'm good then.
Do you think we're going to start a riot this morning? No way.
I'm good
man.
then. It gives me life.
Staying away from that.
Right?
Spirit is sacred energy. Sacred energy. It's sacred, okay? And it clears the mind so you can become more focused on what is truly good. Charles Fillmore said, a person's bodily condition depends on their state of mind. No two persons the same age are in the same bodily condition. This shows that years do not make one young or old. So what did you mean by that, Charles? Something to think about, isn't it? We are activated by the spiritual presence of God. Jesus talked about this He said, in that day and that hour, you will be filled with the sacred Holy Spirit, that holy energy. And you will know what to say. You will know what to do. You'll be clear in your mind. Right?
Yeah.
See, I don't always know what to do. So you know what I do? I just shut up. If I don't know what to do. Or I might use my imagination and say, okay, what might I do? And then consider the possibilities. And then you get into what? Possibility thinking. Ooh, that's fun, isn't it? Ooh, I could do this, I could do that, I could go over there. You never want to limit yourself. You don't want to close the door. You want to do what? Open the door for what? Expansion. And think about, what could happen, what you could do. And then allow yourself to be filled with the Spirit. I think that's what Jesus was talking about. Because the word Spirit, that is kind of an archaic word. Today we would say Spirit equals energy. We understand energy, don't we? We understand what energy is. So a group activation is very powerful when you're in a group. Have you noticed that? We get a group together and you're in that group mind, that group thinking, anything is possible. And you notice that when you're by yourself, there's less energy. Sometimes it's harder to meditate unless you've just established yourself and you've done it. It's harder to meditate by yourself. So that's why you want to be in a group. So and there's a group energy that builds. It's like we've been meeting in this room here since 2009. So there's a lot of energy that's here. A lot of energy. So you feel it, and it's uplifting. So that's why meditation is better in groups. You don't have to try so hard. Sometimes we try real hard to be spiritual. Oh, I'm just really trying hard, James. I'm really working on it. I'm working. Stop it. Stop working so hard.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I will back up and say that maybe meditation is not necessarily better in groups.
It's more powerful.
It is more it's really helpful until you have established that habit for being able to meditate on your own with yourself. There is a different dynamic that happens when you meditate in a group, for sure.
Yeah.
There are times when I really appreciate my own.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying that the solitary practice is not important.
No.
I'm just saying that the group energy is powerful. That's what you want to activate.
Better. It's good.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So spiritual community makes all of us stronger.
Yes, it does.
Makes all of us stronger. We need each other. I need your energy. You need mine. We all need each other's energy because that's what feeds us. We are fed by this energy. What's another word for energy?
Spirit.
Spirit. What's another word? Love. Love. What's another word? Peace. What's another word? You getting it yet? Calm. Joy. Wisdom.
Release.
There's wisdom in a group, right? Let's take a breath together. So we wrote a song about it.
You wrote a song.
I wrote a song about it. When I say we, I'm speaking of the whatever.
The collective.
Because I know it's not just me, because this song came to me in 5 seconds. It just, I couldn't write it down fast enough. It just, there it was, So, and it's all about grounding and presence and so forth. So we're going to turn down the lights. And I want you to sit back and don't worry about a thing. Just breathe. Let it all go. Make a room for the energy. Make room for love. Make room for peace. Make room for the sacred Holy Spirit. Be here now. Be present in your body. I am present with my body. I am present here and now, grounding all of my energy, feeling safe, loved, and empowered.
With my body, I am present here and now, grounding all of my energy, feeling safe, loved, and empowered.
With my body, I am present here and now, grounding all of my energy, feeling safe, loved, and empowered. I am with the earth. I am grounding with the earth. Let's sing that again. I am grounding with the earth. I am grounding with the earth. I am receiving. I am receiving from the universe. I'm receiving from the universe. I am grounding. 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 Once more. I am grounding. So breathing gently, easily, Just allowing your breath to come. Allowing your mind to be still. Allowing that spiritual energy to pour through you. Maybe there are thoughts of confusion in your mind. Some choices that maybe you've had to make recently. You're wondering what to do. Just release, the power of release. Just let it go. Just let it go. I am present in my body. I'm present here and now. I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm empowered. I invite you to put your attention on your feet for just a moment. And imagine these roots growing out of your feet down into the earth. Just like a tree. You may wonder, what is under the ground? Under the ground is all the minerals that you need, that the tree needs. There are hidden veins of water underground. And just sense the roots moving toward that hidden underground supply of life-affirming energy, spiritual presence. And imagine a shaft of light going from your core down through the earth to the very center of the earth. I am connected now. I am grounded. Just like every electrical system has to be grounded. Everything needs to be grounded. And so we ground ourselves. And we allow that wonderful divine water, spirit, energy to come through the crown, the top of the head, and move down through the body, pouring through, washing away the confusing thoughts, the fears, the anxiety. And we're just letting it happen. We're releasing. We're letting it go. We're becoming more clear and more clear and more clear. And that feels good. And I want you to imagine with me that this room is a representative of our community, our collective energy, who we are, why we're here. And so we take this opportunity to ground ourselves and ground this community. We open up to receive miracles. Maybe you need a miracle in your life this morning. Allow yourself to be healed. Nothing you have to do to work for it. Just let it happen. Let the Spirit do the work. Insight, ideas, wisdom and understanding, guidance, clarity. I can see clearly now what I need to see in this moment, right now. we can see clearly now what we are to do as a community. We anchor ourselves, and we are grateful for the many blessings, for everything that has brought us to this place, this time, and this moment, for all of the people, all the light that's been shared, for the transformations that have taken place in so many lives, for the love that's been felt and experienced. We call forth divine order, divine order, divine order, divine order. So in this place of groundedness, we open to receive our good, our prosperity, our abundance. We ground into this moment, and we are grateful. Perhaps you know of someone that needs prayer, and maybe they need to be grounded. Maybe they're not making good decisions right now. Someone you know, someone you care about. I invite you to bring them into this space with you here and now, and hold space for them. Hold them in your heart. Surround them with your prayers, with your love, with your energy. And imagine that they are just like a cup of water, and you just start pouring water, just filling up their cup. May you be filled, my friend, with the Holy Spirit and with power, with empowerment. Be filled. Be clear. Be strong. Be well. Be whole. We declare it. We affirm it. And we hold the hands of all of our brothers and sisters all around the planet. We pray for that integration and understanding, that we rise above our pettiness, rise above our misunderstandings, rise above the differences, and realize that we're all one people. We're here now. What are we here to do? And so we hold the planet and all the people in that grounded state. So take a deep breath now. Well, let us hold just a moment in the stillness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In the name of the Christ and all that is sacred and good. Amen. And so it is. Reach and stretch and release.